it's Korinn again. 365 days of open heart living, day number 12, disoriented. So I was recently speaking with a youth, and they had gone to like a religious retreat for their church, and it was an awful experience for this young gentleman. It sounded like the way things were ran were just disorienting. There were tactics that the leaders used to kind of, I don't know if they intentionally were disorienting the kids or just trying to take them out of their element to get them to connect with God. It did not work. So they like didn't let any of the kids know what time it was, had took away all their phones, had no clocks up anywhere in any building, never would let anybody know what time it was. And then they also um, like made them be touchy feely, made them hug, made them hold hands, made them put their arms around each other and sway back and forth during singing. Just lots of forced things and things taken um, away from them as far as like just that sense of like what is even going on. This gentleman said that there were several times where he would just look at his hands and be like, is this real? Is this really happening? Just completely disoriented. And another thing that they did, oh shoot, it's flying back in my mind. The clocks. Oh yeah, they wouldn't let them also know what was coming up next. There was no agenda. It was just, no, like you don't need to know what's going on next. But then they actually, at one point, told the kids they were going to go play volleyball. They led them to a field and there was no volleyballs. They tricked them into thinking they were going to do something, and then they showed up and did something totally different. Apparently there was a whole bunch of people that had been at these like past retreat people that came back, like cult. um, and then this gentleman said that my dog is with me this morning. He said that they sat the kids in a circle and that there were concentric circles around them of people like holding hands, and one circle would spin one way and the one would spin the other, and then on the outside would spin the other and the other. So they're all moving in disorienting, directions, with kids sitting in the middle, and it felt disgusting. It did feel like cult behavior to me and associated with a church. It wasn't that the church this person was going from was the one hosting it, but they sent kids to this. And yeah, I was horrified and disgusted for this poor child and their experience, and was alarmed that, yeah, there are people out there that use umbrellas of religion or politics or whatever the hot topic is to do things that are disorienting, to hook people in, to follow their cause and to follow their way. And it just made me think about how we have things in our life that disorient us too, and how meditation is a practice that we can use at any time to bring ourselves back to ourselves, to bring ourselves back to our center, because meditation is you quiet yourself, you connect inward, and you feel yourself. And when stuff on the outside is spinning in different directions and disorienting us, we need a ground to just sink down into from within ourselves. So that is my topic for today, disoriented. And that example was kind of an extreme one. It's just what brought it up to my mind to talk about. But different things that can disorient us are people and relationships. Sometimes we're around certain people or have a dynamic in a relationship that knocks us off our kilter, that disorients us and makes us feel just out of whack, out of connection with being grounded within ourselves. Places sometimes can disorient us, being like a large crowd or being in a wide open space, just something we're not used to, a place, triggers disorient us. If you've had trauma in your life and something happens, that can really disorient you and just make you feel disconnected from yourself. And really, isn't that what being disoriented is? Not being connected to yourself, which makes so much sense why meditation is a counter tool to reconnect, to orient, to self orient to yourself. So I want you just to close your eyes, take in a nice, relaxing breath. And our focus today in doing the inner breath and coming back to the feeling of your breath is just to connect with that sense of orientation within your being. Just orient yourself to yourself by feeling yourself and feeling your breath. Feel your breath as it moves in and moves out. Feel your body as your breath moves within you. Feel how with your breath connected to your body, that is your anchor. You are your anchor. And every time life tips you off kilter and disorients you, you can come back to you as your anchor. Sometimes in a boat, if the boat kind of drifts away from the anchor, it's still connected, isn't it? We just have to reach down within ourselves and pull ourselves back to the anchor. It's strong. It wants to hold us steady, and it's there for us. Connect to the anchor of your breath and pulling yourself back into your beingness. You might even be able to see that visual of you sitting in a boat atop just a calm body of water, and the anchor is tied to the end of your boat. And you look down in the water, you can't see the anchor, but you know it's there. And you reach for the rope or the chain, however you see it, and you start to pull it back into your boat. And as you pull at that connection to that which is your anchor, it brings you closer and closer to that place where you dropped your anchor. And as you get closer to it, you feel safe and sure and steady as you have something to hold on to. You have you to hold on to. As in your steadiness of your breath, that steadiness of that water that has no ripples and is just completely calm in this visual. You have you. The steadiness of you and your breath is your anchor to pull you back to safety and orient you into knowing you are okay. You are okay. And you are connected with yourself in this moment of feeling your breath. Taking a nice deep breath and keep feeling it as it flows. It is absolutely perfect that there are dogs barking in the background because that's very disorienting. So let that help you grab onto your anchor of your breath. And even with that going on in the background or as it fades, stay steady in your breath and orient yourself back to you. And stay with your breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So just taking the time in moments of feeling like life has you tipped on your kilter, feeling disoriented, you can connect in to orient yourself with the anchor of feeling your breath. The heart is really your center. So it's all about coming back into your center of being. The mind is not your center, the heart is. The mind is the space where, if we are feeling disoriented, that's where the illusion or the disillusion is kind of getting us off base. When we come back to our heart and we're quiet within ourselves, and we just touch base within ourselves, then we can start to have more of a sense of what our orientation is, so that those people, those places, those triggers don't hold so much power over us to knock us off our kilter, to disorient us, to make us disoriented. I hope that that was helpful for you and inspired you in some way. And I hope that you keep living your heart.